Beneath the shadowed canopy of the savannah, amidst the golden grasses that sway like whispering ghosts, the black lion emerges from the darkness, a ghostly enigma cloaked in ink and mystery. This rare creature, already an anomaly in nature's grand theater, harbors a secret far more grotesque and harrowing than its sable fur can conceal. On the left flank, where muscle meets skin, a festering abyss gapes open, raw, oozing, and alive with a sinister choreography of parasitic life. This wound is no mere injury, but a living nightmare, home to a plague of parasitic invaders that feast and burrow without mercy. It defies the picturesque ideals of the wild, challenging the romantic vision of nature as a pristine sanctuary. The parasite infestation on this black lion is a vile saga etched in pus and decay. These invasive entities, often unnoticed in the grand scheme of the wild, reveal their gruesome dominion when flesh is torn and the body's defenses falter. Larvae wriggle beneath the torn epidermis, creating maelstroms of inflammation and necrosis. Various species of flies lay their eggs into the wounds, giving birth to maggots that consume dead tissue, a macabre recycling that is as disgusting as it is fascinating. The fetid smell emanating from the lesion is a cocktail of rot, sweat, and bacterial life gone berserk, a chemical symphony of disease and despair. These parasites are unwelcome guests, turning the wound into a breeding ground for secondary infections, compounding the lion's agony. Yet, there is clinical coldness in this grim tale. Parasites are not villains in isolation. They are products of an ancient ecological ballet. They thrive not out of malice but survival, exploiting weaknesses that even apex predators cannot fully escape. Their presence in the black lion's wound tells a story of vulnerability, of the thin veneer between predator and prey, health and decay. It's a dark, biological truth. Even the king of the beasts can be brought low, not by teeth and claws, but by microscopic horrors wrestling silently in the flesh. The lion's infestation highlights the ruthless reality of life and death on the plains, where the cycle turns unforgivingly, indifferent to beauty or power. The parasites themselves, diverse and resilient, range from botfly larvae to various types of mites and ticks. Botflies lay eggs in the lion. In the heart of the unforgiving wilderness, where the sun beats down with relentless cruelty and shadows creep like faded memories, a lone zebra stands as a living testament to nature's dark underbelly. This is no storybook image of zebra stripes gracefully blending into sun-dappled savannas, but a grim tableau of survival marred by grotesque infestation. The zebra's once gleaming coat is shattered by a gaping, festering wound, an apple of rot, and disgust that pulses with the ceaseless activity of hundreds of ravenous insects. This isn't just a wound. It is a living, breathing nightmare signed in the language of decay and parasitism, a vivid portrait of life's harsher truths. The gash itself is a cavernous maw of torn flesh, raw and swollen, glistening with pus, and surrounded by brittle, irritated skin stripped bare by the countless bites and scrapes. The zebra, usually a symbol of vibrant life and harmony within its ecosystem, here becomes a host to an army of relentless micro-predators. These insects, a dark congregation of biting flies, flesh-eating maggots, botflies, and ticks, have claimed the zebra's flesh as their own banquet hall. The buzzing is deafening, punctuated by the subtle yet insidious creeping of tiny limbs and mandibles that cut and chew with mechanical precision, driven by chemical instincts and biological necessity. Biting flies, in their rank numbers, swarm the wound with visceral efficiency. Their sharp snouts puncture the skin repeatedly, siphoning off the blood and inflicting fresh misery with each assault. The zebra's natural defenses, its constant shaking of the head, flicking of the tail, restless stomping, are futile acts against the multi-limbed onslaught. The flies are but one faction, hidden in the moist crevices of the wound. Maggots writhe in a dismal cacophony of grotesquerie, born from eggs laid by botflies whose larvae burrow deep beneath the zebra's skin. These pale, legless grubs feast on decaying tissue, accelerating the process of decomposition long before death has a chance to intervene. Their movement, slow, methodical, relentless, is a subtle horror, an endless procession of consumption that mines the boundaries between life and death. Ticks embed themselves too, their bloated bodies a testament to their sanguine feasting. Hidden in the zebra's mane and around the wound edges, each tick is a living syringe, a transmitter not only of disease but of endless irritation and suffering. Together, these insects form a complex web of infliction, a parasitic symphony of destruction that transforms the zebra's afflicted flesh into a battlefield of survival and surrender. The wound exudes a foul stench rising in waves, thick and clinging, the smell of infection and decay that pollutes beneath the shimmering surface of the African savanna sun, where the breathtaking beauty of a white lion might conjure images of purity and grace, lies a far grimmer reality, one that gnaws beneath the fur and flesh like a sinister, creeping. This is not a tale of pristine majesty, but a raw, unsettling glimpse into nature's darker corners. Observe, if you dare, a white lion writhing under the assault of an insect infestation so grotesque it twists the mind, a living canvas of decay, and relentless invaders burrowing deeper day by day. What begins as a slight irritation invites an outbreak. The untouched fur hides an abhorrent battlefield, where tiny, ravenous creatures wage war against flesh and bone, transforming pride into pestilence. The lion's once glorious mane is now a ragged landscape pocked with deep, festering wounds, each pulsating with the restless crawl of writhing arthropods. The stink of rotting tissue punctuates the air, a nauseating miasma that creeps into the senses and lodges there unyielding. Beneath the glossy white coat, what should be a symbol of power and purity is corrupted by an unholy alliance of maggots, larvae, and relentless ants, thriving in the moist, open sores left by claw marks and cruel gnawing. These insects feast, and their delicious banquet becomes a stage of relentless carnage. They gnaw at living flesh, secreting enzymes that liquefy tissue, freeing nutrients with a macabre efficiency that could shock even the most stoic biologist. Insects, nature's ultimate recyclers, transforming life into death in a cycle both grotesque and utterly fascinating. Close your eyes and imagine each wound as a living entity of pestilent industry. Maggots tunneling, ants swarming, flies buzzing incessantly like a morbid symphony. The bacteria take root amid the chaos, turning wounds into fetid sores, the moist necrotic flesh exuding a gluey fluid that attracts yet more parasites. The white lion, a majestic creature that once struck fear with its silent, regal gaze, now limps through this living nightmare, distorted and consumed gradually by the smallest yet deadliest of enemies. And through this grim scene flows a stark, indifferent truth. Death and decay are the well-oiled gears of nature's relentless machinery, indifferent to beauty, strength, or suffering. Delving deeper into the infestation, the insect society reveals itself like a grotesque microcosm of survival, in the vast, untamed wilderness where the bison roam, an ancient struggle unfolds beneath the surface of majestic landscapes. Here, amidst the rolling prairies, lives a creature both imposing and vulnerable, a giant draped in thick fur and muscle. Yet today, our gaze falls not on the grandeur of this beast, but on a darker reality, a sinister narrative etched directly onto its hide. Our horrific wound festers across the bison's flank, a gaping maw of flesh torn and corrupted, a grotesque testament to one of nature's most brutal parasites. This is no ordinary injury. Beneath the crusted layers of dried blood and dirt lies a relentless invasion. The wound pulses faintly, infested by a swarm of parasitic organisms whose sole mission is to exploit the bison's flesh for survival. As the skin breaks, it invites a host of unwelcome guests. Fly larvae burrow deep into the living tissue, feeding, growing, and multiplying in a disturbing cycle of decay and rebirth. The infestation is not merely superficial. It worms its way into the bison's life force, leaching vitality and inviting bacterial infections that magnify the misery. This is a battleground between host and parasite, a grim dialogue written on the canvas of pain. Parasite infestation on a bison is an unsettling, yet fascinating phenomenon from a biological standpoint. These parasites, often botflies, specifically target the skin to deposit their eggs. Once the larvae hatch, they begin a cruel journey, embedding themselves under the skin, evading the immune response by concealing themselves in vast larvae colonies that consume nutrients directly from the animal's tissues. This process creates necrotic holes that widen and bleed, the edges ragged like shredded parchment. The bison's thick coat cannot protect it from this microscopic warfare. The thick fur becomes a breeding ground where flies incessantly return, drawn by the in the heart of the African savanna, where the sun blazes down and the air is thick with the scent of earth and life. A chilling tale unfolds. Picture a leopard, a creature of grace and power, prowling through the tall grass, its spotted coat a masterpiece of nature's design. But this is not a story of beauty. It is a story of horror, a tale that will make your skin crawl and your heart race. For this leopard bears a wound so grotesque, so shocking, that it challenges the very essence of survival in the wild. A horrific beehive wound, a gaping, festering cavity teeming with the buzzing menace of thousands of angry bees. As we zoom in on this unfortunate feline, we see the raw, exposed flesh, a gruesome sight that would make even the most hardened of hearts shudder. The bees, those tiny yet formidable creatures, have taken residence in the leopard's body, turning it into a living hive. Their relentless stings have left the animal in agony, a once majestic predator now reduced to a pitiful state, struggling against the very forces of nature that once made it a king of the jungle. The buzzing sound is deafening, a cacophony of chaos that fills the air, as the leopard thrashes in a desperate attempt to rid itself of this uninvited infestation. But how did this happen? How did a creature so powerful fall victim to such a small foe? The answer lies in the intricate dance of nature, where the line between life and death is often blurred. Bees, while essential to our ecosystem, can also be a source of torment in their quest for survival. They can become aggressive, especially when their hive is threatened. In this case, the leopard, perhaps in search of a meal, stumbled upon a bee colony, provoking a swarm that would soon turn its life into a nightmare. The bees, defending their home, unleashed a barrage of stings, each one a painful reminder of the leopard's miscalculation. As we delve deeper into this dark narrative, we must confront the reality of bee infestations. These tiny insects, often overlooked in their importance, can wreak havoc when they invade the territory of larger animals. The leopard's wound is not just a physical injury, it is a testament to the harshness of nature, where the balance of power can shift in an instant. Bees, in their relentless pursuit of survival, have turned the leopard into a host, a living vessel for their colony. The wound, now a breeding ground for infection, is a grim reminder of the consequences of nature's unforgiving laws. The infestation is not merely a physical ailment. It is a complex interaction between species, a dark twist in the tale of survival. The leopard, once a symbol of strength, now embodies vulnerability, a stark reminder that even the mightiest can fall. The bees, in their quest for dominance, have transformed the leopard into a battleground, a site of conflict where life and death collide. The buzzing swarm is a haunting soundtrack to this tragic tale, a reminder that nature is not always kind, and the struggle for existence can lead to grotesque outcomes. As we observe this harrowing scene, we are compelled to reflect on the moral implications of such encounters. In a world where humans encroach upon natural habitats, the delicate balance of ecosystems is disrupted. The leopard's plight is a microcosm of a larger issue, a reflection of how our actions can have dire consequences for the creatures that share this planet with us. The bees, in their instinctual drive to protect their home, have unwittingly become agents of suffering for the leopard. It is a dark irony that highlights the interconnectedness of all living beings, where one creature's survival can lead to another's demise. In the end, as we watch the leopard struggle against its fate, we are left with a sense of unease. The natural world is a place of beauty and brutality, where the line between predator and prey is often blurred. The leopard, once a symbol of power, now serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that nature is not to be trifled with. And as for the bees, well, they may be small, but they certainly know how to throw a party. Just make sure you're not the guest of honor. In the darkest heart of the jungle, where shadows blur the line between life and decay, a spectacle unfolds, one so grotesque it captures the troubling dance between survival and suffering. Picture a monkey, once sprightly and wild, now a decaying testament to nature's merciless cycles. Its skin, stretched taut and marred by festering wounds, pulsates under the relentless siege of crawling insects. These parasites don't simply inhabit, they infest, consuming flesh inch by painful inch, turning vibrant flesh into a landscape of rot, a sinister theater of organic collapse. This horror is not merely an unfortunate accident, but a chilling example of insect infestation, a biological phenomenon where countless tiny invaders exploit the vulnerable. The wounds we witness are not random injuries but breeding grounds. Flies, bot larvae, and blood-sucking mites converge, drawn by the smell of decay and the weakened defenses of the host. The monkey is overwhelmed by this mechanical army. Each bite, each larval burrow, a gruesome assault engineered for survival. The skin's texture is a patchwork of festering necrosis interspersed with weeping sores, where maggots squirm and thrive in the darkness beneath dying tissue. This infestation is a grisly biosymphony, the hum of wings, the squelch of flesh, the slow, inexorable spread of decay. Scientifically, this phenomenon serves as a grim but fascinating window into parasitology. The insects engaged in this carnage have evolved to exploit a niche so specialized that their life cycles depend entirely on the host's suffering. Flies deposit eggs in open wounds. Larvae emerge and feast, their feeding patterns carefully orchestrated to avoid killing the host too quickly. Too fast a death would cut off their food supply. Mites burrow into skin folds, causing further irritation and secondary infections that spiral into larger outbreaks of infestation. This microscopic